It's precisely 1:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Rumesh Piris and read by Sabrina Zawahir. First, the headlines. The head of state says his and the government's priority is to develop the country's agriculture industry. Large gatherings for the New Year's Eve banned. The final rites of the deceased due to COVID-19 should be carried out in line with the health directives by the Health Ministry. The Epidemiology Unit of the Ministry of Health says COVID-19 recoveries tally is on the increase. The Parliament's first sitting for 2021 to commence on January 6th. The special traffic operation for the festive season to continue until the 6th of January. And in international news, UK widens areas under the tightest anti-COVID-19 rules. In sports, it's cricket. Australia versus India, Joe Burns dropped as hosts recall David Warner and Will Puaskey. Now the local news in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says the priority of the government is developing the country's agriculture industry. The head of state instructed officials to ensure they do not obstruct the daily cultivation activities related to those engaged in the agriculture industry. Speaking at an event in Kebetigolava, the president said the political authority must render its full support for such initiatives. Health authorities have requested the public to refrain from holding gatherings and functions to celebrate the dawn of the new year, unlike during previous years. The chief epidemiologist, Dr. Sudat Samaravira, said the request was made in light of the COVID-19 situation in the country at present. Dr. Samaravira warned of a high risk of more COVID-19 clusters emerging in future. Meanwhile, the police have urged the general public to ensure they abide by the health safety guidelines to prevent the year 2021 from becoming another year of struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic. The police media spokesman, DIG Ajit Rohana, stressed police will also remain vigilant of gatherings and celebrations that are held both today and tomorrow to mark the new year. 698 individuals who recovered from COVID-19 have been discharged from hospitals during the past 24 hours. The Epidemiology Unit of the Ministry of Health said total recoveries accordingly increased to 34,623. Accordingly, 7,245 individuals are currently being treated at 63 facilities. 460 patients were detected yesterday, increasing the coronavirus caseload to 42,063. Meanwhile, the Director General of Health Services says 4 new COVID-19 related deaths have been recorded in Sri Lanka. The new development brings the total number of fatalities to 199. The Secretary General of Parliament, Dhammika Dasanayaka, says the first sitting of the 9th Parliament for the year 2021 has been scheduled from the 5th to 8th of January. The Committee on Parliamentary Business, chaired by Deputy Chairperson of Committees Angajan Ramanathan, took the decision when it convened yesterday. It was further decided to allow media persons to enter the Parliament for media coverage from the 5th of January next year, subject to healthcare procedures provided by the health sector to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The Parliament will accordingly convene between 10 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. from the 5th to the 7th of January. However, on the 8th of January, the Parliament is set to convene between 9:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Meanwhile, the National Election Commission will convene once again today. The chairman of the Election Commission, Attorney Nimal Punchiheva, says the NEC's activity for the year 2021 will be the subject of discussion during the meeting. He noted special focus will be directed to the registration of new political parties. The Election Commission stated the registration of new parties will accordingly commence next month. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing more on local news, another 82 suspects have been apprehended on charges of driving under the influence in the last 24-hour time frame. Accordingly, a total of 1,398 suspects have been arrested thus far on said charges since the 20th of December. The police noted the special operation to arrest drunk drivers will continue until the 5th of January. Police, meanwhile, revealed that 50 people were killed and 132 critically injured in road traffic accidents which occurred during this time frame. Another 291 persons had sustained minor injuries in accidents, while police have recorded a total of 613 motor traffic accidents thus far. The Tamil National People's Front member V. Manivanan has been appointed as the new mayor of Jaffna Municipal Council. Hence, the position of the mayor in Jaffna has been shifted from the Tamil National Alliance to the TNPF. Manivanan was selected to chair at a vote held yesterday at Jaffna MC following the registration of former mayor E. Arnold. With that, we conclude the local news. The main news story follows.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The chairman of the National Institute of Fundamental Studies, Professor Atula Sumatipala, says the final rites of the deceased due to COVID-19 must be carried out irrespective of faith and nationality. Professor Sumatipala made this comment participating in the Subharati program conducted by the SLBC this morning. He further stated that the decision to carry out the final rites of those who succumb to the deadly disease should be carried out adhering to health directives issued by the Health Ministry. That came to you in our main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight, the police have urged the general public to ensure they abide by health safety guidelines to prevent the year 2021 from becoming another year of struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic. The police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana stressed, therefore, the public must take all necessary precautions such as wearing face masks, maintaining social distancing, and following other health safety habits stringently. DIG Rohana stressed police will also remain vigilant of gatherings and celebrations that are held both today and tomorrow to mark the new year. And that came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news follows. The headlines of the world news. UK widens areas under tightest anti-COVID-19 rules. Deadly attack at Eden Airport as new government arrives. Iran plane crash victims' families to get compensation. Now the world news in detail. British authorities are adding more areas under the strictest COVID-19 rules beginning Thursday as a new variant coronavirus is spreading fast. About 80% of the population in England will be living under the toughest restrictions. Infections caused by the new strain, which is more transmissible than the original one, were recorded mainly in the southeast England, including the capital London. The tightest restrictions were imposed in those areas, with non-essential shops closed and people were requested to stay home. At least 22 people have been killed and more than 50 wounded in an attack at the airport in the southern Yemeni city of Aden. There was at least one explosion shortly after a plane carrying the war-torn country's newly formed government arrived from neighboring Saudi Arabia. Aid workers and officials were among the casualties. Yemen has been devastated by a conflict that escalated in 2015 when a Saudi-led coalition of Arab states launched a military operation to defeat the Houthi and restore President Abdurrahman Mansur Hadi's rule. Iran is to give $150,000 to the families of each of the 176 people who died when its Revolutionary Guards shot down a passenger jet last January. Ukraine has called for negotiations over the compensation and for those behind the attack to face justice. The Ukraine International Airlines Boeing 737 was struck by 2 missiles shortly after taking off from Tehran. After initially denying responsibility, Iran admitted it had shot down the UIA flight unintentionally. Tehran called it a disastrous mistake by the Revolutionary Guards Corps. With that, we conclude the world news. Prior to concluding the world news, the headlines once again. UK widens areas under tightest anti-COVID-19 rules. Deadly attack at Aden Airport as new government arrives. Iran plane crash victims' families to get compensation. With that, we conclude the world news. Development news follows. Taking a look at the development news, Ceylon Electricity Board Chairman Engineer Vijita Herat said that due to the recent rains, a saving of 370 million rupees have been made in generating electricity compared to diesel. He also said that plans have been made to complete the hydropower projects under the present government in line with the Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor policy document. He said that construction work on the Broadlands, Umaoya, Morogolla and Sitavaka hydropower plants was in full swing. Accordingly, Broadlands, which is currently under construction, is scheduled to be completed by April next year and Umaoya by mid next year. That was development news. Next up is the sports news. In sports news, it's cricket. Australia versus India, Joe Burns dropped as hosts recall David Warner and Will Purski. Australia have dropped opener Joe Burns and recalled David Warner and uncapped batsman Will Purski for the final 2 tests against India next month. Burns made 3 single-figure scores in 4 innings in the first 2 tests as Australia won the series opener and India hit back to take the second. Warner missed both matches with a groin injury while Pulaski, 22, was due to make his debut before suffering a concussion in a warm-up match. The third test begins on 6th January. That was sports news. Business news follows. In business news, the Sri Lanka Chamber of the Pharmaceutical Industry reiterated their commitment towards ensuring the availability of efficacious, safe and good quality medicines to the general public in the upcoming year. From supply chain distributions to the adaptation of new technology, SLCPI as an organization is fully geared to face the year ahead and has identified several key areas that are seen as essential if the industry remains sustainable in the long run. That was business news.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. When will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
International arrivals fell by 72% over the first 10 months of 2020, with restrictions on travel, low consumer confidence and a global struggle to contain the COVID-19 virus, all contributing to the worst year on record in the history of tourism. According to the latest tourism data from the World Tourism Organization, destinations welcomed 900 million fewer international tourists between January and October when compared with the same period of 2019. This translates into a loss of $935 billion in export revenues from international tourism, more than 10 times the loss in 2009 under the impact of the global economic crisis. Asia and the Pacific, the first region to suffer the impact of the pandemic and the one with the highest level of travel restrictions to date, saw an 82% decrease in arrivals in the first 10 months of 2020. That was Economic News.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Finally, it's a look at the weather report. The Met Department says that heavy showers exceeding 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in Galle and Matara districts. They said showers will occur in northern, eastern, north central, central and Uva provinces and the Hambantota district. Meanwhile, fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters could be expected at some places in the Uva province and Polonnaruwa, Matale and Nuwara districts. Therefore, the department requested the public to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary, localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. That was the weather report. Prior to concluding the news, the headlines once again. The head of state says his and the government's priority is to develop the country's agriculture industry. Large gatherings for the New Year's Eve banned. The final rites of the deceased due to COVID-19 should be carried out in line with the health directives by the Health Ministry. The Epidemiology Unit of the Ministry of Health says COVID-19 recoveries tally is on the increase. The Parliament's first sitting for 2021 to commence on January 6th. The special traffic operation for the festive season to continue until the 6th of January.